I just want to offer a few words of reflection. The first is, please do not take this literally, that if they drink anything deadly, it will not hurt them. That is the caveat for this Sunday. Please don't drink any Clorox or anything that you think might help get you rid of the coronavirus. That was a bad thing to say, and that this gospel says what it does today is sort of humorous and frightening in the same time. But what I want to focus on are Jesus' first words to his disciples after he chastises them for not believing the first two sets of witnesses to tell them that he was alive. He says to them, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel." When I attended Virginia Seminary 10 years ago, more than that now, in their old chapel, the chapel that burned to the ground a few years ago, above the cross at the altar, there was an arch. And on that arch was stenciled the words, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel." Every day, all of us, for generations, looked at those words. And I don't know about my classmates, but I was intimidated by those words and challenged by those words and energized and invigorated by those words. Jesus' command to all of his disciples, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel." And because I was a student at seminary and I was learning all about the New Testament and the Old Testament, I was taking Hebrew and Greek, and I was taking systematic theology, and I was taking homiletics, I thought that everything about those words, "Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel," had to do with what I said and how I preached and what my words would inspire in people. And then I ran across my time doing clinical pastoral education, where I would sit at the hospital bed of someone who just needed a listening ear or needed someone to tell them, "It's okay. You are loved. God is with you. No, I won't let any mean people hurt you." And then I came across the words of, I believe, St. Francis of Assisi, who said, and I'm going to forget the words exactly, but live your life in such a way that you're preaching the gospel, and when necessary, use words. My friends, we all are commissioned by Jesus to go into the world and live the gospel. Be people who love. Be people who forgive. Be people who share what we have. 1 John, the passage that Julie read, couldn't be more clear about what's important. And this time of isolation, this time of being stuck where we are stuck, should bring us to the place where we see how creation is healing and how we are prioritizing what's really important. Even amidst the car commercials that tell us we can still buy a car in spite of the fact that the coronavirus is in the world, or we can still do this because we're still here for you. Even the businesses are trying to get us to get off center. But this is a time for us to be centered, to really reprioritize and think about how we want to live, not just today, but as we are going to be taking one step at a time at some point to be able to re-enter life, which will never be the same as it was before the virus. It's going to always be different. But it's time for us to think about, how do we want to reprioritize and live our life once the doors start to open up and once we start to be able to go out into the world? How are we going to live the gospel as we go out into the world as Christians? That is our challenge to think about this week. What is our priority, and how are we going to live lives that have been transformed because Christ is risen? The Lord is risen indeed. Alleluia.